Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having a great day. As always, likes, comments, and subscribes are appreciated. Welcome back to another News I Missed, where I go over news I missed. I don't know if a lot of you saw, I posted it on YouTube, but posted it like on the community post thing. I also posted it on Twitter, and I think maybe on Instagram as well, that I am currently at the time not able to actually upload videos. For those of you who do not know and were wondering why the last 5 days I had no actual videos, I tried. I'm currently traveling, as you should be able to tell by the background. Currently traveling, and YouTube or Google does not recognize my IP address, and they locked me out of my account until I get back home, because the only way to get into this account is an old phone that I don't have anymore that's somewhere in my house. So I'm recording everything, but alas, I can't actually upload anything. Just making sure that I still get work done. And welcome back to another I woke up like this video, because I just woke up like this. So anyway, the point is, if I seem a little sluggish or a little off, it's because my eyes just opened, and alas, here we are. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. At the time of me making this video, we are currently like a day and a half after the Ethereum upgrade. Everyone has completely lost their minds. I'm sure even right now, in the present, in the past, when I made this video, you can feel the sentiment in the air. For those of you not looking at the screen, it says Ethereum shoots to $3,000. Crowd sentiment overwhelms Bitcoin. The energy is definitely in the air. It is abundantly apparent that we are now going to try, at least in some way, shape, or form, hit past the all-time high, which I think was $5,000. A lot of analysts are now talking about that 10,000 is definitely going to happen. We are currently burning, what is it? I think we're burning, $10,000 worth of ether per minute. It's just absolutely out of this world. An enormous amount of the news focusing around price at the right now only has to do with Ethereum. I mean, there's like a sliver of stuff that has to do with Bitcoin, but it's mainly focusing around Ethereum, its coin burn, and exactly how much money is being destroyed, obliterated, whatever word you kind of want to use. It says an analyst on Ethereum, he said this gives it an upside projection of $20,000. It's going to get real very fast. I told all of you before, just as a logical way to talk about it, the entire like sell the news kind of thing. I keep seeing a lot of people every single time that something major happens within the space. Everyone's like, you got to sell the news. And I think anybody who sold the news or sold ether when the burn happened, they lost about a good, what is it, like $800, $900 over the last couple of days, as prices have continued to just go up. On top of that, it says Bitcoin's refreshed bull market could see it hit $100,000. We will at some point hit 100K. A lot of the focus is mainly on Ethereum right now because of the coin burn. I think the next step that we have for Ether is logically, I know the numbers have to go up, but the next point that everyone is talking about is 3,400. If we hit 3,400, and I think if Bitcoin hits 46,000, I think we're currently at 43,000, then we will be at the point once again where we will simply see the numbers that we saw before, and we'll get back to the crazy bull run, which is once again to be completely to be expected. I think the only thing that we're really looking for now is the other point in that triangle, and that's Cardano, as far as having their upgrade at the end of this month for smart contracts. And I think that's also going to be completely insane as well. I'm expecting, even as we gear up towards it, a $2 or $3 Cardano just based off of hype. And then I assume when the upgrade actually happens, we're going to start hearing an enormous amount of people and companies, and probably Charles Hoskinson as well, talking about exactly which companies are working with them, which platforms are working first, and which is still launching, and so and so and so, which will also build up more hype. If we get that upgrade on Cardano and don't see at least a $6, $7, $8, $9 Cardano by the end of this year, I'll be completely shocked. 1,000% honest with you. Anyway, that's all the price news that we have right now. It's mainly focusing on Ethereum. It was like 9 websites talking about Ethereum, and this one talking about that somebody from Bloomberg was saying that Bitcoin could hit 100,000. It's going to hit 100,000. Just happens to be that all the news right now is focusing on Ethereum. And without further ado, let's move on. In probably my favoritist story from this week, I don't know if any of you saw this. I thought it was really funny. It says award-winning hip-hop artist Megan Thee Stallion has published a video of herself explaining the basics of Bitcoin, including what it is, why it's valuable, and how to obtain it. The famed rapper previously gave away $1 million in Bitcoin to her fans on Cash App. The video is actually quite interesting. I showed it to a couple of people because it popped up on Twitter like 3 days ago, and I was trying to not get other people to watch it, but I found it really interesting because she's like sitting on a throne, kind of like this really like bubbly looking room. I'm not going to mimic her at all, but what she was saying was just really funny. Like, she was trying to explain it. She called Bitcoin like this new way of money and how like you should invest in it, which I think is actually really cool because a lot of people were like, people make fun of anything. People make fun of me all the time. I think it's really important because she has a certain fan base, especially younger people who may have heard of Bitcoin, may have had a friend who spoke about Bitcoin, maybe have seen the word Bitcoin, but because of her level of influence, she's able to actually get new people into the market. And like, these are the people, like, I want young people to get into the market. I want people who don't have a lot of money to get into the market. I don't want it to just be like wealthy billionaires who are continuously taking up every single market. This is why every single time we get the news that all these billionaires are buying up all this Bitcoin, I'm like, hey, everybody else, pay attention over there because clearly something is happening. So if you have a chance, go look at the video. I thought it was funny in, you know, in a sort of way. She has a huge amount of influence. I think I only know like 2 songs by her, but yeah, I mean, this was, actually my favorite news story of the week because it's, one, I wasn't expecting it, and 2, when I saw the video, it was kind of like, remember 2 weeks ago when when Spike Lee had that, for those of you who haven't seen that, also please go watch it. It was supposed to be like a commercial for Bitcoin, or like the new way of money, but commercials are like 8 seconds, 15 seconds, maybe 20 seconds. This was like a 1.5 minute long thing of people running down the street and like the wind is blowing and Spike Lee is like, the new way of money. And I'm like, who made this? Like, I just don't understand how these things kind of come together. I thought this was hilarious. This is my favorite news story of the week, or rather news I missed of the week. No one really talked about it except for this website. So kudos to them for bringing this up because I loved it. Anyway, I really did love it. Let's move on. Next up, in, sure, why not? National fast food chain Quiznos is set to begin accepting Bitcoin payments at select locations through a new partnership with Bakkt. That is B-A-K-K-T, for those of you who are new here and have not heard of Bakkt. Bakkt came out in 2018, 2019. They are a subsidiary, or they're basically part of the New York Stock Exchange. The New York Stock Exchange, in an effort to get into the cryptocurrency space, did not simply call their app NYSE-BTC. They called it Bakkt, B-A-K-K-T, I think because they're supposed to be backed by Bitcoin. But this is also like one of the weirder times in the cryptocurrency space where everyone was releasing apps like, this is how we got the word hodl. It's like a misspelling of the word hold. What was the other one that the Winklevoss, they also tried to make one. I can't remember what it was called. There was some Winklevoss app that came out. Was it like money, like Manani? It was something with some sort of mix-up of words, and Bakkt thought that Bakkt would work. But Bakkt hasn't been as popular because there's like 95 other companies doing the exact same thing. To pay with Bitcoin in stores pilot is set to debut at select Quiznos in Denver later this month, according to a press release. Quiznos' Bitcoin payment solution is made possible through a partnership with Bakkt Holdings, a digital marketplace that has its own digital asset app. In 2000, this was in the end of 2019. This was before 19, actually happened. The idea was that the New York Stock Exchange would create an app or a new thing that would allow people to be able to pay in Bitcoin everywhere. A lot of people were like, hey, Bitcoin has really high transaction fees. And they were like, don't worry about that. We'll get around that. And this is when the really big news came out that they had partnered with like 30 different companies. I don't remember all of them. It was like Bed Bath & Beyond. It was Nordstrom, all these other companies. And then we kind of just heard nothing about it. And that's when I was speculating. I was like, well, in order for this to actually take place, we're going to need them to actually integrate the Lightning Network in some sort of way, because there's no way that someone's going to try and buy anything, especially from Quiznos, and the transaction fee is $4, $5, $6, $7. So I'm going to also assume, I have not looked into it, as we have not heard anything from Bakkt in about a good 9 months, really 9 months. They must be using Lightning or preparing to use Lightning, because I'm pretty sure Quiznos makes subs. And if they're making subs, the subs are probably $5, $6. And you don't want your transaction fee to be double the amount of the sub you're trying to by the president of Rego, that is Lego with an R, restaurant group, which owns Quiznos and other national quick service restaurant chains, said partnering with an innovative platform such as Bakkt is appealing for us for a number of reasons, primarily because it allows us to accept Bitcoin directly at the point of sale as part of a quick and seamless transaction. And for those of you who buy a meal with Bitcoin, will also receive $15 worth of Bitcoin as well. Not too bad. I would try and go inside there and say, hey, can you guys give me a cookie? And then just don't eat the cookie and like give it back to them and you get the 15. Don't do that. I'm pretty sure all of that is completely wrong. Anyway, so the point is, yeah, this was really popular news this week. That that ground looks terrible. What happened there? Like an earthquake or something. That you can now pay with Bitcoin at Quiznos, and then you get $15 back if you make sure that your meal was super inexpensive. So that's, yeah, this was super popular news. Like I said, I get it, but I feel like if it had been some other company, it would have made a bit more of a splash. But I don't know how popular Quiznos is. Maybe people are Quiznoing every single day all over the US. Anyway, this is getting awkward. That's the Bakkt and Quiznos news. And let's move on. Next up, also in news, Bitcoin exchange LocalBitcoins has announced that deposit-free and transaction-free, wow. So basically, this is the second time this has happened. For those of you who don't know, LocalBitcoins it was a website that basically allowed people to meet in person to buy and exchange Bitcoin. Part of the problem is that people, I don't know how to phrase it any other way, were getting jacked in public for their money, because the idea was it was meant to be like an anonymous way of getting Bitcoin, if you will. But, you know, logically, if people are trying to buy some Bitcoin, you would assume that someone had like a 20 on them or maybe like a $50 bill, and they're trying to go buy some Bitcoin. There were people who had like legitimately like $10,000 in their pocket, and then they were meeting people in like dark alleyways, and then, you know, whatever. So what happened was that regulators were not too happy with LocalBitcoin, and they were like, hey, we can't have that happening. So they basically moved over to like this kind of app-based kind of thing. But then even regulators also didn't like that as well. And at some point, they added fees to their platform, and this is, I guess, what the discussion is right now. So they've dropped deposit fees and also transaction fees on their platform. Backing it up a bit, who the heck has a deposit fee? Imagine depositing something onto any cryptocurrency exchange, and then you get charged for it. And also transaction fees between wallets on their platform are now free. I feel like that should have been a thing forever. Like, there's normally not any type of, especially if you're on a cryptocurrency exchange, there are no transaction fees between wallets because it's still within their actual platform until you withdraw their coins. That's how it actually works. Launched in 2012, the platform doesn't touch fiat itself. Users can transact with each other, leveraging the platform that only intermediates the process, introducing sellers to interested buyers. Initially, LocalBitcoins became very popular because the platform was more lenient on KYC, anti-money laundering, yada, yada, yada. Since it doesn't transfer money itself, users could also go further to buy Bitcoin anonymously through cash trades, where buyer and sellers would meet on local public spaces. No, it was really intense. And it's terrible because things like this are great in theory, but you know how like there's always one person who messes it up for everyone. Like there's one person who destroys it for 50,000 other people. It was going on for like a good couple of years. I had a couple of friends who were also using it. They were like, oh, you know, I found like a really good rate, and they would run out, go come back, and they'd be like, yeah, I got it. And I'm like, oh, cool, you're amazing. But then of course there were other people who were using it like for things like that. And so many, I think like 4 people got robbed. I think one of them, like the really big one, happened in Denmark, and that kind of sent everything into a spiral. And then yeah, something happened in Finland as well, and then I think it got banned in Iran, but that was mainly because the US tries to control everything with their sanctions. So that's the only reason why. Like, it has nothing to do with the people in Iran. Like, they're not terrible people. It has to do with the fact that the US government and everything else in Europe is always trying to control other countries through sanctions. So anyway, that's the local Bitcoin news. I mean, I don't know if anyone else is still using it. If anyone out there, you know, this is more of like a niche kind of thing. Like if you're just getting into the space and you're trying to like figure out how to buy some crypto, but if you're like really into the space, you're probably not using local Bitcoins. But if you are, now they have no deposit fees, which they shouldn't have ever had, and also transaction fees. As it's kind of illogical, but alas, here we are. On top of that as well, a panel of experts has shared their price prediction for Dogecoin for the end of the year, as well as the year 2025 and for 2030. Individually, the experts are divided on the future price of the crypto. Some noted that the price of Dogecoin is heavily dependent on Elon Musk. Finder, a major product comparison website, published the results of its July 2021 survey on the price prediction of Dogecoin last week to determine if the meme crypto is about to jump in price or if this joke has finally reached its use-by date. They asked 42 experts. I don't know who the experts were or like what determines you to be an expert on this panel. The experts were asked for their price predictions for 2025 and 2030. Some, they said, I guess, came to the conclusion that Doge should have a value of $1.21 by 2025 and $3.60 by 2030. That's the Dogecoin news. That's the price prediction news. I would love to see exactly how they came to that conclusion, or what makes them think. Once again, just woke up. That we're actually going to hit these numbers. $1.21 is very precise. Like that is like, I wonder what the calculations were for that. Because even more so, didn't we hit, was it 60, 70 cents? Like this year with Dogecoin? I have a inkling. If not, listen, here's what it'll take. If Ethereum continues pumping and we see a $5,000 Ether, we see a $66,000 Bitcoin, and we see Cardano, not that Cardano is, you know, a market maker, but just going to the altcoin section, you know, a good $3, $4 Cardano, and Elon Musk sneezes hard enough that his leg trembles, I have a very strong feeling we will probably see a $1 Dogecoin. I no longer think it's an impossibility. If Dogecoin was at like 1 cent, I'd be like, okay, hold it there, buddy. But we were 29 cents away from hitting $1 anyway. So $1.21 is going to take us 4 years. I find that a little not making sensey. And also 2030, do you understand what's supposed to happen to the cryptocurrency space within the, like, even for Bitcoin's price by 2025, like the actual number predictions that we have just based off of the amount of Bitcoin that we currently have on the market, the amount that's being taken off the market every single day, how much is being bought, how much is being mined, and then not also sold off. Ethereum's inflation rate or deflation rate coming into like extreme play. 2025 is meant to be an insane year for the crypto market, like for the next actual halving that we're also going to undergo through. So to just say $3.60, anyway, the point is, those are the Dogecoin numbers. I like going over sometimes these numbers because it always seems a little bit ridiculous to me. Like, I kind of want to find the old predictions that we used to have years ago for where Bitcoin was going to be by, I think, what was it, like 2020 or something like that? I mean, it was like, I'm thinking 19,000 is as high as we can go, and it's like, and then you look at where we are now and the numbers that the people are talking about now for the end of this year. I find these things funny. Anyway, well, I'll see you all in 9 years when we have a $3.60 Dogecoin. These $1.21 is a little bit too precise. If it's $1.20, $1.50, I can kind of see that. $1.21, like someone had to sit down with like a pen and paper and they were going through that number themselves. Anyway, that's the Dogecoin news. Unless, I love that the photo is like a chart going up, indicating, you know, money. A person in a suit standing, floating over a city, touching the screen as a Dogecoin gets illuminated. Just a great photo. Let's move on. Next up, also in super popular news this week, a new Senate draft law in the Senate in Uruguay could regulate cryptocurrency transactions and also legalize crypto as an accepted payment method in the country. If approved, the draft proposed by Senator Juan Sartori would also introduce licenses for virtual asset service providers, or VASPs, that would be issued by the government, classifying them in 3 different groups. A new draft law introduced to the Senate of Uruguay on the 3rd of August proposes the legalization of cryptocurrencies as a valid means of payment for goods and services within the country. Proposed by, same guy I just said, The draft law establishes permits and licenses for institutions and virtual asset providers and puts cryptocurrency businesses under the oversight of Senaklaft, whatever that is, the National Money Laundering Watchdog. If I just read a bit further, I would have known what it was. In its 5th article, the Crypto Asset Law, as it's being called, announces the legality of cryptocurrency for payments, but the proposal falls short of declaring Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies as legal tender. It doesn't really matter if they're legal tender or not. The entire purpose is that they're legal. That's the thing that we're always aiming for. So focusing on Latin America once again, a lot of people are very excited about this. Anytime that we hear that any country is going to legalize it or allow people to be able to use it, buy it, sell it, especially mine it, that is also a very big thing, or use it in some sort of fashion, especially paying for things without being taxed. Like, I'm pretty sure the US still has that stupid law that if you're using it to buy a cup of coffee or anything, you have to write it down so you can be taxed for that. I don't understand how logic even comes into play for that. Cool. Let's see if this actually goes through. I believe, yeah, here's the actual bill for it right here. I'm not going to go through the entire thing. It's only 8 pages, but I mean, I don't really feel, I don't think you feel like watching me scroll down 8 pages of text. So here it is right here. Anyway, yeah, let's see what happens. I mean, eventually at some point they're going to have to do this. Like it's abundantly clear at this point. For those of you who do not know, for those of you who made this maybe your very first video, we have already taken over the world. We already are in everything. We're in every single financial system and every single stock exchange in some sort of way. We are there. So if they don't legalize it this month or this week or this year, they're going to have to do it next year. It's not a, if they'll ever do it, is that at some point they're going to be forced to do this because their economy will not be able to contain itself otherwise. Just being completely honest, like we know exactly where the prices are going and how big this market is going to be. So let's just be all completely honest with ourselves. Anyway, that's the Uruguay news. Fantastic. Hope it actually goes through because once again, the countries who adopt this first will be the richest on the planet. Same exact way, what do you call it? With El Salvador, the number that we got from them mining Bitcoin once again is going to be, I think it's like 2 point something billion per year. So, you know, And to finish things off, in news that was also quite popular news, but shouldn't actually be news because no one actually cares, Venezuela's currency will be getting a new look in more ways than one as the government tries to simultaneously tame inflation, good job, and institute monetary sovereignty. Doubt it's going to happen. The Central Bank of Venezuela said today that it will be putting the digital bolivar, first announced in February, into circulation on the 1st of October. The information was first posted to the bank's social media account and confirmed later on the website of the People's Ministry of Economy and Finance. For those of you who do not know and have not been here for the last couple of years, Venezuela tried 2 years ago to make their own digital currency. I think it was called the e-bolivar. I have no idea what it's called. No. It was called the petro. It was based off of their petrol or gasoline reserves that they were trying to base their cryptocurrency on. But it wasn't a real cryptocurrency. No one was actually using it. They tried to mandate it that if you wanted to get a passport, if you were trying to fly somewhere, if you were buying anything, that you had to use it. No one was using that thing, especially as their economy was completely crumbling. Inflation has destroyed any currency that they've had. They mandated, and here's also a really interesting part, and I don't know why I didn't make more news a couple of years ago. El Salvador is not the first adopter of Bitcoin. It's actually Venezuela, and I think they figured this out many years ago, exactly how to take advantage of it. Look up 2019 remittances Venezuela Bitcoin Litecoin. They announced, I'm pretty sure it was 2019, the government or country, whatever, announced that if you wanted to send money into the country through remittances, the only legal way to do so was through the bolivar, so their paper money, the petro, their fake cryptocurrency that they made that I don't even think really existed, or through Bitcoin and Litecoin. These were the only 4 ways to get money into their country, and I told everyone the importance of this, and everyone was like, yeah, but it's Venezuela, and I'm like, yeah, the point is that we see the domino effect happening. You know, when one country adopts it, the other ones who also have terrible economies also have to start adopting this new monetary policy as well, and Venezuela was the first one. And they also were the first country in the world, or rather the first super bad economy country in the world to start mining Bitcoin openly. You can find it as well. Type in Venezuela, army, Bitcoin mining, you'll find stories on it. They mandated that their army basically had to use some of their warehouses and other things like that to start mining Bitcoin Also very big news. It caught the attention of no one. I assume it has to do with a lot of factors because people are ridiculous and need to do better in their lives. But the point is, yeah, so now the news is that they're definitely trying to make a digital version of the Bolivar, which means that the Petro was complete nonsense. And it's coming out on the 1st of October. Once again, the issue being is that these are just digital versions of the paper currencies that they already have. So the paper currency that they already have right now, they're basically taking off a bunch of zeros, not joking, from the end of it to make a brand new Bolivar, and this is what they're going to have as their national currency, and then they're going to digitize it. It is going to be the same garbage, same exact thing before. They have no new economic policies. They're not going to try and stop inflation. It costs 7,600,000 bolivars to be able to buy a cup of coffee. Right. So the point is, yeah, this is also kind of popular news. Anytime that we get news that any country is going to be creating a digital currency in any sort of way, everyone kind of loses their minds. These things have no purpose. They're simply being made as the word is in catchphrase, but trying to get people to go, oh, well, I'll use that instead. It's a digital version of the same exact garbage, the same exact way. When there is a digital US dollar, it's going to be the same exact monetary policies on top of it, except it's going to actually have worse monetary policies because when everyone has a digital wallet, they'll be able to simply hit a big red button and stop all the transactions. We heard this before. For those of you who were not here, sorry if I'm talking too fast. For those of you who were not here, about a year or two ago, there was a senatorial hearing in the United States where basically they were discussing the prospects of a digital US dollar. And one of the things they said was, if we have a digital US dollar and there's at any point a crash down in the stock market or something economically bad is happening within the United States, would we simply be able to hit a big red button to stop people from being able to cash out in the market or to freeze their money as people are trying to have a bank run? As there would no longer be a bank run, it would be an app run. And the guy was like, yeah, we'd totally be able to do that. And they were like, okay. And they all wrote down something. So, you know, we can kind of see where all this is going. And this is why, once again, it is important to have decentralized, immutable currency because we all know where the world is going. It's just abundantly clear, or it should be to all of us at this point. Anyway, that's the Venezuela news. This is launching on the 1st of October. I assume we're here by I'm going to give it the 15th of December. Exactly how this isn't going to plan, how their currency is still going to inflate. They're not making a new currency. They're knocking off zeros from the already inflated one, making a digital version of it, and, you know, history repeating, yada, 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 all that kind of stuff. Anyway, I do hope you all enjoyed. I do hope that you all are having a great day, a great morning, a great afternoon, a great evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope it is absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching and or listening. I'll see you all in a couple of days. For you, it's today, but for me, it's in the future. Yeah. Thank you all once again for watching and or listening. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See